And hello, everyone. Welcome to Power Scanning. It is April 11, 2026. My name is Daniel, and I will be your moderator throughout this session. And I'm greeting you today from our beautiful office here in Montreal, in Canada. It's a nice spring day. Finally, it's getting a bit warmer here in Montreal. It's been a long, long winter. At least it seems endless at times. But finally, the snow is melting. It's getting nicer outside, step by step. All right, so where are you guys calling in from? Let's just ease into the session. Please put your location into the Q&A box. Let me see. Who do we have in the room today? All right. I do see a couple of familiar names. Please put your location into the Q&A box. Aubrey is there. Hey, Aubrey, how are you? How are you? Sunny Cyprus. Of course, always sunny. It's always sunny in not just Philadelphia, but also Cyprus. Who else do we have? Please put your location into the Q&A box. Who else do we have in the room today? I do see Gary is there from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Hey, Gary, how's it going over there in Pittsburgh? Kevin from North Carolina. Hey, Kevin, how's it going? Nice to have you. We have Heiko from Landau in Germany. Hey, Heiko, nice to have you as well. Art from Frederick, Maryland. Windy day, but clear. Art, how's the flying weather down there? I guess it's not too windy to fly. Big jets. Donna from Virginia Beach. Hey, Donna, how are you today? Nice to have you. And we also have Dominic from Düsseldorf. Hey, Dominic, how are you? Düsseldorf also in Germany. And artist saying it's great flying weather. Okay. Jens from Frankfurt. Hey, Jens, how are you? Nice to have you again at our session. And we also have Stephen from Lincoln in the UK in England. Hey, Stephen, how are you? Nice to have you. And all right, guys, well, that's it. Perfect. Let's get into it. Once again, I'm hoping for a very interesting and interactive session in today when it comes to finding the next and most interesting swing trading setups for the week and the week aheads. And just as a reminder, a swing trade typically lasts between 1 and 20 weeks. And more importantly than the duration, it's also a trade that needs to be managed. So you have to monitor your trade. You can just set and forget it. You have to look at it. You have to take profits when needed, potentially adjust your trade. So it's really not a buy and hold investment. It's a trade that's open, and you need to check the markets, potentially book profits early, or reevaluate market conditions and so forth. So that's really important when it comes to swing trading. All right, now, what we're going to be doing today is what we coined the 13 minutes strategy. And you may ask, why 13 minutes? It seems like an arbitrary number. Yes, it is arbitrary, but the idea is that it's something that you can do in just a few minutes. It is a strategy designed for everyone with busy lives, for everyone who wants to find interesting setups, not full time, but perhaps during a lunch break, perhaps after work when you get home, or perhaps in the morning before the market opens. That's what we'll be teaching you today. That's what we'll be doing today together. One more thing about this, it is a strategy which is not only applicable on the weekend, when of course all the markets are closed, it is applicable after every trading day. So you can do it on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, on Thursday, and of course on Friday and over the weekend. Whenever the market closes, new data will come in. Our scanner will readjust, will recalculate everything. This takes about 2 hours of our cloud server. So it's a huge process that runs in the background. But once done, all the new data will be there, and all the new setups for the next trading day will be available. How this works and how you can take advantage of our trading scanner, we're going to see together today. Now, real quick, who are we? We are tradingindicators.com. My name is Daniel. I'm the guy here on the left-hand side, and together with Homer, here in the middle, we have created trading indicators about 10 years ago. And about 5 years ago, Niklas has joined our team, and he's become instrumental behind many of our latest innovations. And Niklas is also in the room today, and he will be looking out for your questions. This brings me to the topic of questions. So if you do have questions, please don't be shy. Put your questions into the Q&A box. This could be, questions about maybe a particular strategy or a setup or a symbol request, whatever it is. Please don't be shy. Put your questions into the Q&A box. The more, the merrier. All right. And I also do need to remind you that trading does contain risk and therefore is not suited for every investor. If you trade, make sure to only use risk capital, which is money that you actually can afford to lose. When it comes to backtest performance or hypothetical performance, keep in mind that this is not necessarily indicative of future performance, and any trade ideas and strategies discussed in this webinar should not be construed as trade advice. These are for educational purposes only. All right. So with this out of the way, let's go through a couple of housekeeping items. I'm going to keep it short. Now, first off, what we're going to be doing today is an interactive exercise of scanning using our dashboard based on certain criteria. Now, it would be best if you followed along. Now, if you don't have access to our dashboard yet, I encourage you to sign up right now for a free trial version of our dashboard. It's a fully featured trial, so all the features and scans will be available, and it's available for 1 full week. And all you need to do is to go to tradingindicators.com/view to sign up for this trial version. And Nicholas, please put this link into the chat box. So tradingindicators.com/view to sign up for 1 week of a free trial using our dashboard. All right, let me just quickly see if Nicholas is there. Otherwise, I'm going to put this link myself in there. So 1 week trial.
Oh, I'm putting the link in, Daniel. Just one moment.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Nicholas. Okay, all right. So next, a bootcamp is also available. It took us a long time to record it, more than 3 hours. It was a huge session, and kudos to all of those who attended this bootcamp live for all the 3 hours. It was exhausting, not just for you guys, but also for me to have this all recorded. But I thought it was absolutely necessary because our dashboard has grown quite a bit since its very early stages. And in this bootcamp, we took the time to explain every single feature. And the idea is that you don't need to, understand, use all these features all the time, but at least by watching the bootcamp, you can at least see what's out there and then pick and choose the features, the scans, the indicators that may fit your trading style. So I encourage you to check it out at tradingindicators.com/bootcamp. Also, moving on, we have a Discord channel at tradingindicators.com/Discord. Take a look, it's completely free to join. We are trying to build a trading community in our Discord channel, a community where traders are helping other traders. Moving on, 2 more things to be said. We have an ebook available called The Power of 3, where we are detailing the most interesting the most important setups that we typically scan for. So go to tradingindicators.com/power of 3. The link will also be put into the chat to check out our ebook. And lastly, if you guys have any questions or feedback or really anything related to the dashboard, don't be shy. Your feedback, your questions, whatever it is, your interactions with us is what drives the further development of our dashboard. So all these, features here, these came in directly by feedback from you guys. So please don't be shy. We are hungry for your feedback. We want your feedback, and it's really important that you voice your opinion so that we can address your concerns, your suggestions, your wishes. All right. With this, let's get started with the market review. So what has happened last week in the market? Well, it basically, let me just go here. Here's our dashboard. It basically happened what many have predicted. So if I go to the SPY here, the ETF that follows the S&P 500, it looks like we're going to see a V-shaped recovery of this recent downwards move in the SPY and all the major indices. And we argued about 2 weeks ago that what we saw in terms of a down move, we look just at this downside action here, 1 leg down, a bit of a recovery, and then another leg down. This kind of looked similar compared to what we saw about 1 year ago during the tariff discussions. So 1 leg down, 1 up, and another 1 down, and then a fast recovery. You can see this V pattern here, down and up, and the upwards move almost as fast as the downwards move. It kind of looks similar here. So we had this downwards move, now a quick recovery, but of course, depending on what happens this weekend, this may as well result in an attempt to make all-time highs in the SPY. So we're not very far away now, maybe 3 or 4% only off the all-time highs. So a quick recovery now pushing against this resistance level here at around 697. So really interesting how fast this can go sometimes. But of course, the situation is still volatile, so don't jump the gun yet. trade mindful with smaller position sizes. Of course, taking into account the current volatility that, there are no guarantees in trading. There's no guarantee that this V correction will not, it's possible that this will still reverse into something downwards facing. But from a technical point of view, of course, there is some resemblance to what we saw last year. And I was curious. And before this webinar, I was actually digging into the S&P 500, and this is the SPY here, and to see which stocks are actually the outperformers so far this year in the SPY. So let's have a quick look together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to our S&P 500 watch list here. You can find this in our drop down here. S&P 500 watch list, which gives us the 503 stocks in the S&P 500s. And I was curious, which of these stocks are currently the best performing ones this year? And for this, we have a column, you can see it right there, called year to date. So since the beginning of this year, since January 2026, let's see which of the stocks are the best performing ones and perhaps which ones are the least performing ones. Let's take a look. So I'm going to sort now from highest to lowest. And of course, the usual candidates are still on top. We can see SanDisk here, computer hardware, 248% since the beginning of the year. Oh boy, what an unstoppable force. Look at this move where this stock came from. Talking about like a diamond in the rough, a gem, had we known, whatever. What a move this has been. If I measure this out from all the way down here to this is 1,800% in about a year or a bit more than a year. Crazy move. What happened to SanDisk? Sienna Corporation, 105% up this year. Also, you can see it here. What a strong move upwards. Company in technology. And then we have another technology here, Western Digital, and so forth. So technology leading the way. But interestingly, I can see all these stocks here in the technology sector. Interestingly, if we actually are looking at the sector, I'm going to switch over one more time here to the S&P 500 sectors, which will list our 11 sectors here. And if you look here for year-to-date performance, technology, this is also already sorted, is only down here. The XLK is only, I think, maybe 6th or 7th in our list, with actually a loss so far this year of 2.07% since the beginning of the year. Kind of interesting that despite the fact that we had so many huge outperformers, the technology sector as a whole is still down a little bit. And of course, this has to do with the weightings of the individual stocks and so forth. All right. Now, let me go back one more time to our S&P 500 stocks. I want to show you one more thing. And let's focus a little bit more on the technology sector. So I'm going to, filter by technology. We have our 82 stocks here, which are in the technology sector. Let's have a quick look. What drives most of the gains here? And we can see it's mostly hardware related. I can see SanDisk and equipment, hardware components, semiconductor industry. All these ones are driving, or these are outperforming the technology sector. And at the end, this also becomes interesting. If I go to the end of it, what do we see here? Of course, it's not always the same, but most of the time it's software related. Software. So software has been probably the biggest loser since the beginning of the year. And many see this as potentially, at least for some of these companies, an opportunity to get into some of these companies at a undervalued prices, some may say, hoping for a recovery. But I'll be careful for some of them at least. There's some interesting ones out there. Palantir is something we're going to discuss later on today. I believe is very interesting at current price levels. Other companies like Oracle and Adobe, I personally would be a bit more careful about. So like Oracle here, you can see it. Oh boy, what a downwards move. A bit too big for my taste when it comes to those. Where do we have Adobe? Just quickly see if I can find Adobe. Not there. One second. Microsoft also part of it. With Microsoft, that's some of these companies. I think they are very broad in terms of what they offer. I'll be more relaxed. But companies like Adobe, look at this move, man. Whew. I personally would not buy into this falling knife. I would be careful with these kind of setups as I see. Other ones like Palantir, a bit more interesting. And we're going to discuss together in this session why that may be. Okay. All right, but let me go back to the market overview. So I'm going to go back to all my symbols and let's look at the QQQ, the NASDAQ 100 ETF. I'm going to keep it brief. Very similar pattern to what we saw in and the SPY V-shaped recovery potentially in progress here. So I'm going to just take this out here. This was what I drew last week. We can see prices have been pulled up. Now approaching also slowly this resistance level here at 636. Quickly, what's going on with the IWM, the Russell 2000 ETF? I mean, all the indices have jumped up last week. Yeah, this symbol here, the IWM, came off the support level at around 244. Now also trading higher at 260, approaching the 270 resistance level. And if you're in this, I personally would perhaps think about booking some profits from a swing trading point of view. Of course, many of them may be in the big indices. From a buy and hold standpoint, then of course keep your position. But from a swing trading point of view, perhaps think about booking some of the profits at current price levels, or maybe when prices come up a bit higher, because we are approaching resistance, and perhaps a bounce of resistance may be in the books. What about oil? Oil pulled back a bit. And yes, it's understandable. The current levels were not sustainable. And I would not be surprised if we see a further pullback in oil in the next couple of weeks with prices this high, this extended, this far away from our averages, pullbacks towards the mean. At least these greenish lines here, these are always in the picture. And, despite this down gap here, down gaps are bullish setups. I believe we may, it depends what happens this weekend, we may see further drop in, or at least towards these average lines that we see here, at least from a technical point of view. All right, let me go on to gold. Gold worked out exactly as we have hoped. We called out gold for a potential long trade when prices were down here at this 400 level. And we had three reasons for this. Of course, then it bounced off nicely, so it's easy to say now, but we had three reasons for this. First off, it was coming down to this former resistance level. You can see this little green line here. That was broken resistance now acting as support. So we had a technical level nearby. It was also a psychologically important number at around 400. It was a level 4 pullback as per our trend radar indicator, and we have a couple of down gaps here to be filled. They're screaming to be filled. They're not filled yet, and even at current price levels, I believe gold is bound, me in the interim, to come at least up to the 458 level to fill these gaps, perhaps even more. But that's what I'm looking for. So I personally have some gold exposure. I'm going to keep it despite this move up for a bit longer to see if you can fill these gaps here, and then potentially I would be looking at booking some profits and looking for new pullbacks in gold. All right, what about silver? I believe silver was one of our trade ideas of last week in our watch list. I'm going to double check this in a second. Worked out quite nicely so far, but it's a bit remarkable that silver actually did not recover as much as gold did. We're coming off this very contested level here. You can see this little red line here around 65, prices going back and forth with this level. If we can sustain above the level, I believe also these gaps here will eventually be filled and prices will trade towards this resistance level here at 83, which is an intermediate resistance level, the ultimate one being all the way on top here at 109, the all-time high in silver. And one more symbol, Bitcoin. Oh boy, Bitcoin is interesting because once again, let me just quickly check where are the live prices right now. Yeah, similar to where we closed yesterday. Once again, we are approaching for the third or fourth time now the key level of 74,000. We've discussed it many times. You can see it here. Prices broke this level before. This was used to be support at 74,000. We broke below, came back up. Zone break retrace kind of a setup within a bearish trend. Down again, up once again to 74,000, down again, and now once again up to 74,000. I believe that a break of this level will be very beneficial for Bitcoin if we see this break. Prices are nearby. And of course, you as a trader, it's a judgment call. We are, of course, within like a big downwards movement, and potentially from a short-term trading perspective, maybe shorting Bitcoin, anticipating yet another bounce off this level, is something to be considered. It would have worked nicely here and here. And if you do so, just make it a very short-term trade, grab your profit as you see a bit of a bounce off this level. Eventually, I believe the break of this zone here, the zone of 74,000 or at the upper end and 62,000 at the lower end, will decide where the journey will go next. If we break decisively above, I believe bulls will become in charge again, which I'm hoping for personally because I have some longer term investments in Bitcoin. I even bought or added to my position when prices came down to the 70,000 level. So that's my personal interest in this. But if we lose the 62,000 level here to the downside, I believe price levels of 45,000, this level here might be in the picture as well. So, we will let the market decide. But nonetheless, I kind of, if you want to feel a bit speculative, potentially shorting Bitcoin, maybe even from a day trading point of view, as prices come up to the 74,000 level, maybe something to consider. Perhaps something we can discuss on Tuesday in our lunch and learn session when the market reopens. All right, so that was our market overview. Now I'm going to quickly check what did we pick last week and how did our picks fare so far. So for this, I'm going to go down to our watch list
Daniel,
here.
where
There we
would you
go.
place your stop if you were shorting Bitcoin?
Oh, right about maybe 75,000, something like that, just above this level. Maybe at this pivot high here, like here, 70, maybe 76. So something just above this level, then anticipating maybe a $2,000-$3,000 move to the downside for a short-term trade. This would really be an actively managed trade where you need to pay attention and grab your profits as they come up. Yeah, because it's very sideways. You can see how prices are rangy. So even if you get a little bit of profit, I would just grab and run basically. Yeah, that's my idea. Okay, so let's go to our watch list from last week. We had 7 picks. How did we fare? All right, LSI Industry. All right, a bounce trade here off support. I saw a nice bounce happening here. This is what I'm saying. As a swing trader, there is nothing wrong with grabbing your profits as you see them come in. We want to actively manage them. So you could have, even though this move wasn't very big, potentially already grabbed some profits when prices came up. Maybe take something off your position. Why not? And then perhaps even close your position. So this is what I'm saying, especially in current market conditions, especially with stocks which are quite volatile, like this one here. Grab and run with your profits, and perhaps not the worst idea. So this one bounced nicely down Friday, a bit down, Thursday and Friday, a bit downwards again, but nonetheless, a trade which in theory is still working and would have delivered some profit so far. Silver. Yeah, silver, I believe, has some more legs to go to the upside. It went up a little bit, but I think a move towards this intermediate resistance level is still in the picture. If you're in this position, I would stay with it. Of course, if you sold some puts and these puts, lost already 50% of their values potentially, depending on what your expiration was, maybe think about closing it. Man, there's no need to holding on to a risk position. If it's a short put, for example, and there's only a limited upside to be gained left, maybe close it out. Move on to your next uh, trade and free up your margin and your risk exposure. Skanska is stock in Sweden. Beautiful. This one is clearly a trade which should be closed right now. So if you were in that trade, what a bounce of this level. You can see it here. All the way to resistance. This is where you need to get out. This is, once again, an reminder that you need to manage your trades. Once you see your prices fly up, the trade working out, book your profit. You don't want to give it away as you are hitting intermediate resistance levels. So this one worked out nicely. PFGC, the Performance Food Group, also a nice bounce off this level here, off support now trading towards the middle, in between support and resistance. Even a bit of a gap here. Maybe also here a sign, perhaps book some profits. Why not? This is swing trading. This is not buy and hold. Maybe at least partially ring the register. There's nothing wrong with that. Made Corporation. This one is still pretty much where it was before, so we called it here as a long entry off the support level. It went up a bit and then down again towards this level. This setup is still valid even right now, so if you're not in this trade yet, this is something to be considered. The Vanisha Services Group, an Australian company. Yeah, nothing happening here. Prices are exactly where they were last week. And then we had the Rave Restaurant Group. I don't know what happened here. This candle looks very strange to me. With basically no wicks, actually 2 candles in a row with no wicks. I wonder if that's a data error. Actually, let me quickly, just for the fun of it, it's good to do some interactive debugging here. Let me see how this looks on Trading View. Maybe no, it's exactly where it is. All right, cool. Yeah, I guess this is just what happened in trading. It jumped up a bit, now down at this level once again. So also this one, you could have taken something off this trade here. in terms of swing trading, but yeah, at least here, yeah, no harm, no foul, even with the latest drop, what we saw on Friday. All right, so overall, I think a pretty decent performance of our picks last week. Let's see if we can repeat this performance or even improve it with our picks this week, and there will be some interesting one, I promise you already. All right, Niklas, do we have any questions so far, or can we move on with our
We have
actual
one from
scanning
Donna here.
process?
I know what
Yeah,
the solid red and green lines on the charts mean, but I've forgotten what the dashed lines mean. For instance, on LYTS, it is at the 19.07 level.
I think that's just the current price. Let's have a quick look. Let me just see what when it comes to LITS, I think it's just the yeah, it's the current price. So
Oh,
there's no
yeah,
meaning to
Donna
this.
actually followed up and said, is that the last close? Yeah.
It is, yeah. Yeah, and if you don't want to see this line, Donna, by the way, you can go to the settings in trading. This is a trading view chart here, and I believe there will skills and lines here. One second.
There under symbol, you were there at the last
Oh,
place?
you saw it on the symbol? No.
On scales and lines.
Oh,
If you scroll down, there's a section symbol. It says name value line, and then you click that drop down. It says symbol.
oh, got it. Ah, okay, okay. Yeah, if you don't, okay. So maybe that's maybe this is good. This maybe what might be a bit more clear, so that way this line doesn't conflict with the technical levels on the chart. Okay, thanks, Niklas. Perfect. All right, so let's move on to our scanning process. I'm going to go back to my slides just for a quick second, and let's scan. And before we do, a quick reminder of what we're actually scanning for. So uh, we basically are looking for trend trades in this particular scan. There are other things you can do with the dashboard, but for today, and most of what we do in these scanning sessions, we are looking for trend trades and typically long trades in the long direction. So buying stocks, not shorting them. And for this, one precondition is that the stock is already in a trend, and ideally in a long-term trend, a long-term uptrend. Why is that? Because, once a trend is established, once a trend is stable, it's been going on for a long time, the odds that the trend will continue are simply higher than the odds of this trend breaking and reversing. That's a fact. But nonetheless, even with a long-term trending stocks, there are good moments to enter into a trend trade, and there are not so good moments. And one moment which perhaps is not so great is when things are very extended, when prices are very far away from their averages. For example, here prices, you can see these candles here very far away from these green lines. So this to me is not the best moment because it's first of all very expensive, and the chance that the pullback will happen, a correction from that trend, are quite elevated. All right. So what I do, or what we do instead, we are actually patiently waiting for what we call a healthy pullback. Now, these healthy pullbacks, basically you can see them on price, and price comes down towards these lines here, towards the mean, but you can also see them here in our trend radar indicator by means of these little red levels coming in. And for us, or to us, a pullback of 3 levels down, like this one here, 1, 2, 3 levels down, or 4 levels down, this is what we call a healthy pullback. Now, why is that? Well, we basically made up this name, so the name is not so important, but to us, it's a pullback which is not too small, where it's not really meaningful, but also not too big, where an entire trend reversal may be happening. So it's right in the sweet spot. This is what we call a healthy pullback. These are happening in every single trend. There's no symbol which doesn't have these pullbacks, and we can patiently wait for these ones and then look for entries. And ideally, this pullback coincides with a technical level on the chart, which could either be a support level where price comes down. You can see these candles are coming down to this reddish line here, or this reddish zone here. That's a support level. Or it could be a former resistance level where price is coming down from the top down towards this green line here, which is a former resistance level. It was broken prior. We had a bit of a breakout move, but then prices came back down to this level, which oftentimes can be a launchpad for the actual move higher up. So this is what we're looking for. So these kind of trend entries where prices pulled back down to a technical level within a very well-established uptrend. It's a conservative way of trading. May not be the most exciting one, but at least to us, it has been a very consistent way of finding interesting setups and profiting from this. So it's not the 10 bagger that you'll find, like where stock will just fly up. For this, I guess you would need to look for different criteria, but it's a very reliable way of trading. And but by the way, we are working on a different trading style behind the scenes where we have some indications. Hey, this stock perhaps has the potential of maybe really flying up to the upside. It's definitely more speculative, but it's also a valid trading style. But it's not what we're going to be scanning for today. Today is going to be more on the conservative side, where we're looking for these consistent profits within a very well-established uptrend. Okay, so with this, let's start scanning. So back to the dashboard. All right, and I'm going to enter now our criteria. And the first criteria, let me just quickly hide some of these things here so it's not too convoluted. 1 second, I'm just going to disable some of these columns here. There we go. All right, so today's criteria, actually one, there we go, will be long-term uptrend. All right, so we can use our MA rush column for this. MA rush is our trend indicator. It will tell us on the price chart by means of a label. Let me just quickly see if I can find one here for LSI Industries. Here, there we go. Whether we are currently bullish or bearish. We'll draw these labels here. Depending on what was the label last on the chart, it will determine what kind of market state we're in right now. Are we currently in a bullish market for this particular symbol or in a bearish regime? Okay. And on the left-hand side here in our scanner, we can actually have a column here called MA Rush, which allows us to filter for stocks which are currently bullish. And I'm going to use this one here, bull signal greater than 100. So we want our symbols to be in a bullish trend for at least 100 trading days. Oftentimes, I even require 500, but let's just be a bit more loose today, more than 100 trading days. You can see here, every single symbol here now has this upwards facing arrow with a, oh, this one really jumped. Wow, this is the kind of 10 backer you want. Let me just go to a different one. Applied optoelectronics. Yeah, wow, what a move up. Bullish since October 2024, and nice follow through. But would we enter up here? Probably not, because this stock is at an all-time high. It's super far away from the averages. This is not something where we want to enter in. Would you agree? It's too extended. It's too late now. We missed our chance. We could have entered here when prices came down. We can see this level 3 pullback on trend radar, but right now it's really extended. Prices are really far away. So this is why our second criteria to find our entries is to require the symbol to have pulled back either 3 levels or 4 levels as per our trend radar indicator. And we have a column for this as well called pullback. This one here. We can select it, we can select the filter and select level 3 or level 4. Done. And now every single symbol here, like LSB Industries, will have this pullback. You can see it here. Nice pullback. This one here, FRO Frontline PLC, pullback. UAMY, United States Antimony Corporation, level 4 pullback. These are the kind of pullbacks that we're looking for. But there's one more criteria. I also want that this pullback coincides with a technical level on the chart. So this one is almost there. We're close to the support level here. We're not in the vicinity yet, but we're almost there. What I would like to see are pullbacks right into this level. How can we find this? By using our Liquidity IQ setup column here and selecting either long bounce, this one here, for example, SAB, I'll talk about the symbol in just a bit, coming down to this technical level, or long break retrace, where we're coming down to a former resistance level, like this one here, Digital Ocean Holdings. These are the kind of setups that I really enjoy and like. And let's start off this one here first. This is actually a super interesting one for various reasons. I'm going to add this one to our watch list right now. Bullish since October 13. Nice move upwards. We broke above resistance here on March 16 this year. Nice move upwards. And then a quick drop down towards this broken resistance level. And I believe that perhaps we're coming down a little bit further. This could be a great entry point for another move further up. All right, so I'm going to add this one to our watch list right now by creating, first of all, this watch list. There we go. Okay, so weekly swing trades 2026 0411. That's today's date. I will add this stock to it. All right, there we go. And I will also now share this watch list with you guys using this button here. So you have it in your account. So everybody who signs up will see this watch list. And I'm going to unshare the watches from March 7th. So only the last 5 watch lists are visible in your account. Okay, perfect. So this is the first one. And I really like this one for various reasons. It's a nice setup, but look what we see here. Heat index 22.21. That is unbelievably high, meaning option prices are extremely expensive for this particular symbol right now. You basically get 22.21% premium for options. Wow, if you're selling options, if you buy options, you have to pay 22.21% premium for options with 30 days till expiration at the money. That's a lot. So I was thinking if this heat index is somewhere similar on Monday, if we are opening up somewhere similar in this vicinity, this could be an interesting candidate either for selling some puts or perhaps for a credit spread, an option selling strategy, which definitely is of interest to you because options are so expensive. And selling options, what you want to do is you want to sell high and buy back much lower. So definitely an interesting candidate for this. Okay, but let's move on. What else do we have here? I'm going to actually sort by trend duration here. Okay, SAP. Saab is a Swedish company, yeah, known perhaps for their car industry, but what you may not know is that they actually are quite big in yeah, military applications as well. Long-term uptrend, as you can see it here, came down to the support level and also of interest. But if I were to trade this one, is I probably would give it a bit more room to put my stop maybe somewhere below 570 here, below the swing low. Because see, we have two levels very close to each other. This from a resistance level here at 587 and this support level here at 609. And oftentimes, if two levels are very close to each other, it's oftentimes the lower one, which is the more significant one. So just give this one a bit more room if you're considering this. But nonetheless, I find it interesting. I'm going to add also Saab to our list. All right. Oops. There we go. Okay. Perfect. Moving on. Protagonist Therapeutics. Okay. Yeah, interesting as well. But to me, I mean, it's definitely an interesting setup. A nice pullback here, but ideally, when I use a or see a long break retrace, I want this price to go a bit further away from this level. This is a bit too shallow for me, this curve here. So I'm gonna stay away from this one. It's interesting, but not the cleanest setup, at least in my book. So I'm gonna skip it. Irati mate, we had it last week. Also not gonna rediscuss it now. It's still valid at this level here. If you're in this trade, I would probably still stay in this trade, hoping that we're going to be bouncing off the support level towards higher price levels. But since we had it last week already, I'm going to skip it for today's watch list. Next one, FHI, Federated Herms. Wow, very strange candles here. Not sure what this one is. Yeah, nice uptrend nonetheless, but it looks a bit too erratic for me. I'm just going to skip this one. Moving on. Septerna. All right. What do we see here? Yeah. Let's have a look. Okay. Yeah, I mean, these are all similar. Actually, this one looks kind of interesting here for a long trade as well. Let me just quickly see where we're coming from. Yeah, but since prices came down here, actually, I'm going to skip this one too. A bit too erratic for my taste. There's one more which I wanted to mention is BlackRock Energy and Resources Trust. This is an interesting zone break retrace, and look how much separation we had here. We broke the level here, maybe around at March 4 or something like this. Nice move upwards. Lots of separation from this level. And then like this is the kind of pattern I'm more interested in. If you're just hovering around this level, maybe not at least it doesn't look clean enough for me. So I like BlackRock Energy. I'm gonna add this one to our watch list. All right. Perfect. Okay. Moving on. So, okay, we have a couple of interesting candidates already so far, but there is actually more to be seen. What I'm going to do there is I'm going to remove the requirement of having a level 3 or level 4 pullback. Sometimes a bit too stringent. Yes, these are all sweet spot trades where the pullback is not too small, not too big, but sometimes it's a bit too stringent. So I'm going to remove this one. So no filter. And let's see what else we can find here. All right, Dollarama, a Canadian company. Uh, yeah, not a clean setup. I'm gonna skip it. This support level here where we are right next to it was broken beforehand. Now we're coming above again, but it was broken before. To me, this weakens the level. I'm gonna skip it. iShares US Insurance ETF. A similar story here. Level was broken before. I'm gonna skip it also here. This is an intermediate level. The actual support level is down here. You can see it here. And once again, this explains my case. If two levels are close to each other, it's oftentimes the lower one, which is the most significant one. ECC Bank Limited. Yeah, same thing. Level was broken in the past. I'm gonna skip it. Rheinmetall, German company, also in weapons and military applications. Here, it's more interesting. You can see it here. Yes, price came down to the second level, and now once again we're coming down to the second level with a liquidity capture event at the last bar. I'm gonna add this one to our watch list. I like it. All right, then. Okay, moving on. So we had lights. Lights we had last week also in our trade ID. I'm not going to add it this time, but it's still valid. Price is near support here within a longer term uptrend. State Street Autos and S&P 500 insurance ETF. Yeah, same thing. Broken beforehand. We're going to skip it. United Rentals. Yeah, many stocks you can see it here. This has to do with the current market conditions where things drop quickly, drop below support. Now they're recovering. To me, this weakens the support level a little bit. So I don't like these cases where we're going below first and then we're coming up again. Now we're technically above the support level, but it's not the cleanest setup. So I like to skip these ones. Berkshire. Yeah, a bit more interesting, but I just have a feel that Berkshire without Warren Buffett is not the same anymore. Of course, it's a complete speculation. There's no, I have no other insights. It's just a feel that I have. This is why I like to somehow shy away a little bit from stocks where I personally just don't feel it. So I'm going to skip this one as well. All right, let me just see if I can see a couple of other ones here, which I wanted to mention. Let me just go down this list. Palantir. Yes, that's something I wanted to mention. I think it's at the key level right now. I'm going to add Palantir to our list because of what we are seeing right now. Look what happened. Big drop from 207 down to 126. We briefly came below this support level. We saw liquidity capture even at this level. And I think it can be potentially the bottom of this correction. It's a feel. If not, I think it might go much further. But I think there's nothing wrong with perhaps scaling into a smaller Palantir position, anticipating that the overarching uptrend will continue. There's another reason for this. I think Palantir is one of those companies where even from a buy and hold perspective, it's something of interest. It's a very stable uptrend now at the lower end. I like it for both for swing trading and buy and hold. So I'm going to add it to our watch list. All right. Okay. And let me just see what else do we see in our list here. Oh yeah, this one here is also interesting. We had it a couple of times before. It's the WR Berkeley Corporation. Yeah, testing support one more time here after a big move up. It's quite it's quite a nice run to the upside since November 2023. Now testing key support. There's nothing below. So next level would be only here at 56. That would be potentially a complete reverse of this trend. I kind of like it. I will add it as well to our list. And then we had one more, which I wanted to point out. Just going to skip a couple of ones here, going down all the way to Cloudflare. So Cloudflare is quite similar to DigitalOcean, the one with the very high options premium. Also, this one here, you can see it here. Uptrend for sure, but a big drop on actually all of last week down to this key support level at 158. Options premiums at 20.63% for 30 days. Options for 30 days expiration at the money. That's a huge premium. And also this one, I think an interesting candidate for potentially an option selling strategy. Selling puts or perhaps a credit spread if you want to manage your risk a little bit better. So I like it. And if I was to trade this one, in fact, first of all, I would only pick one, either Cloudflare or DigitalOcean, because I think they're in a similar industry. There's a reason why this industry dropped. And secondly, look at the earnings that are coming up on May 7. So whatever you do, if you're selling your puts, make sure you buy them back before the earnings are happening, no matter what. Don't wait until after the earnings, because after earnings, you almost always see a big IV crush, a crush in implied volatility, which will oh actually, sorry. What was I saying? No, I'm confused. Sorry. No, potentially consider holding them after earnings to get this big IV crush with in your option section. Sorry, I was confused. And then potentially benefit from this as well because volatility is extremely high right now. Maybe in anticipation of these earnings already, perhaps not, who knows? But this is something to be considered. All right, perfect. So I'm going to add Cloudflare as well to our list. All right, great. Let's see, what are our symbols? And Nicholas, would you have any questions so far
Yeah, we have one
for
from Joachim here. Can you explain why Rheinmetall was so good? It broke through, I guess, resistance. What positive meaning did the liquidity capture have?
I mean, yeah, that's a good segue. Well, it did break through a little bit, but you always have to give it a bit of leeway. Technically, yes, this level was broken here to the downside, but not by much, just by a little bit.
No zone
Um,
break.
Zone break. Oh, when we came back up again, you mean?
I'm saying there was no zone break signal, technically, because the candles never actually gapped the level, the support level. The high of the bars never went below.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I see this as like a sideways consolidation here of this symbol. We came to similar levels. So you can see the sideways move, which is coming after a big move up. So Rhine Metal, it came up quite a bit. Now we're in this sideways phase, but we're at the low end. And to me, my thinking is, hey, we're at the low end. This sideways channel may continue for quite some time into the future, but since we're at the low end, we can benefit if prices are oscillating between the lower end and the upper end. That was my idea here. And yeah, but we didn't see a clean zone break here because we're basically sideways ranging also. All right. So yeah, let me just add Rheinmetall to our list. Last time we had it on December last year, where we priced at 1,529. Oh, it was down here. Yeah. Look what we did on in December. We called it out at this price level, which was exactly this level, this area here, and then prices came up. And I see similarity right now at this price level as well. This is why I find this interesting for next week. So I'm going to add it as a trade note. There we go. All right. Very good. And save. Perfect. Zap. Zap. Yeah. I mean, uh, yes, it's interesting. Yes, we're at support here. Uh, it's just this move that came up was very sudden. You can see it here, very quick move up. Oftentimes, there comes a bigger correction from this move. So I just take this with a bit of a grain of salt here. How far did we go up until here? So maybe a 61.8 retracement would bring us to this level here, to 563. Yeah, just maybe give this trade a bit more room if you are looking into SAP at current price levels, maybe scaling into, oh, come on, scaling into a position rather than having a full position on is the right approach here. So nonetheless, I'm going to add it to our trade notes. Okay. There we go. Done. Come on, close. Okay, Palantir. Yes, I find it interesting, both from a swing trading and a buy and hold point of view at the current price level. So this was a nice correction. We came down, we measured this out, 50, almost off, 38, 39%. Sizable. Uh, and this is what you want to wait for. If you're looking to for long-term exposure, don't jump in at high points, jump in at low points. So this could be one of these low points in Palantir. Even with an option selling strategy, actually, this is something we can discuss probably on Tuesday as well. So if you're thinking of establishing a position, maybe selling some puts at the money is not the worst idea. If prices come up again, okay, you get rid of your put, you gain from that. If you get assigned, prices come down, you get assigned for your sold put at the strike price. At least then you then own the position and you collected the premium. So basically, you get a discount for owning the position at the strike price. So I'm going to add this. Oops. add this trade note here as well. All right. There we go. Palantir. Come on. There we go. Okay. Next one is the Berkeley Corporation, WR Berkeley Corporation. Yeah, I kind of like it. I think this is going to be also resulting into a sideways consolidation. We are here at the lower end. It's just something that you want to closely manage. So if it jumps up a bit, just book your profits early. This oscillating behavior, up, down, up, down, up, down, may continue for quite some time, but the moves may not be the biggest. So just manage this actively. But nonetheless, I like it. I'm going to add it here to our trade notes. Okay. And next one is Cloudflare. Cloudflare is an application security company. We also use it at trading indicators for our firewall solution. Huge drop in Cloudflare down to support with liquidity capture, huge options premiums, something to be considered for perhaps as an option selling strategy. So I'm going to add it as well to our notes with the current price. And this is a reminder to me, hey, when did we pick a symbol, our trade notes? And so we can check it out later on to see what happened to our picks. All right. BlackRock Energy for a long break retrace trade. Yeah, kind of a nice upwards move down to this key resistance level now at 15. How much did we lose? About 10%, I would imagine, if I measure this out from top to bottom here. Yeah, 10%. Yeah, you get into the discount. Interesting symbol. All right. And finally, DigitalOcean. So if you like Cloudflare or DigitalOcean, I personally would only pick one of them. And the reason is, first of all, they're in a similar sector. So they're both in technology and software infrastructure. So similar sector, and similar short pattern. Look at this big move down quickly. I would only pick one of them because, otherwise you would double your risk. You don't want this. And you just pick the one that you are perhaps more familiar with. And DigitalOcean looks kind of nice. Long-term uptrend here, a bit more stable than Cloudflare. If I just look a quick look here. Yeah, it's definitely it has more upwards momentum than Cloudflare. So maybe DigitalOcean would be my choice of symbol here. Just the trend looks a bit cleaner. Now a big drop and huge options premium at 22.21% at the money for 30 days option. So interesting symbol. And we're going to have a look at this one on Tuesday when we have our lunch and learn session to see if we actually executed on this potential trade. All right. Perfect. So this sums up my picks for this week. Do we have any symbol requests that came in?
Let's wait for them to come in, but we don't have any right now.
Okay, perfect. I mean, I wouldn't mind having an easy session today, as some of you may know, especially the German attendees. I already had a webinar earlier today at 10 a.m. Eastern time for our German community in German. So having a light session sometimes is not the worst. So any symbol requests, guys, that you would like us to look at? There we go. Gary.
SOXX.
Oh, okay.
Or
Which of these
SMH.
semiconductors should we use? Okay. Oops. SOXX or so these are two semiconductor ETFs. Yeah, jumped up a lot, long-term uptrend, and SMH. Let's have a quick look. If I had to pick one, which would it be? Yeah, they're very similar. I don't have a choice, which I can do for you. I would not trade any of them right now because I would wait for a pullback as per trend rate. Level 3 or level 4. Right now, things are extended. There are some gaps here which might get filled to the downside. So I personally would wait patiently for a pullback and then potentially look into a long position.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you, Daniel.
Because your microphone might be a bit
thank you,
muted
Daniel.
or
That's all.
sorry?
I just said thank you, Daniel.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Yeah, I don't see any other symbols. Maybe I talked too much in a row and everybody dozed off a little bit while I was talking. Anybody else? Derek. Okay. Okay. Lost last 2 minutes of off audio and video. I hope this was just for you, Kevin, not for everyone. Okay, Derek. VFC. Okay, let's have a look. VF Corporation. Yeah, bullish since December 2025. Now coming off the support level here. Yeah, we're kind of in the middle in between support and resistance here. I would wait for a pullback before doing anything. Entering right here, I think I would be patient for this. AEM. All right. Nico Eagles Mines Limited. Let me see what they're doing first of all. Gold. Oh, okay. Gold mining. Let's have a look. Yeah. I mean, uh, pick one gold stock. I wouldn't engage in all of them at the same time because the best moment would have been here at this level to enter at 187. Now we're already a bit further up. Um, Maybe you're gonna see another pullback and then execute or enter into position. But now we're already up. A pullback will come eventually. You can scan for this and set your alerts for this, but I would wait. Okay, race. Ferrari. All right, what's going on with Ferrari? Okay, 5% down for the year. Bearish trend. Yeah, nothing that would interest me from a swing trading point of view. So we're bearish here. Maybe wait for prices to come up towards this resistance level, maybe short it. Maybe with some options. Look for shorts, like a zone break retrace, but for the short direction. But right here in this zone in between support and resistance, maybe not so interesting. Walmart. All right. Okay. What's good? Yeah. Ah, look at this. I think we drew this level at some point. Prices came down to our level almost to the to the dot, and then they took off. Yeah, right now it's not interesting for me. I would wait for prices to come down. We're too close to resistance. Maybe wait for another pullback, and then look for a long. Amat from Dominic. Applied Materials, okay, up 49% for the year. The materials sector is strong, breaking above resistance here, but there's a gap which I would be a bit careful about. This one here, it might get tested again. It's a shame because I think I'm losing out on some opportunities here. I personally I'm uncomfortable with chasing trades or trades chasing trends. Here, clearly, we are an uptrend. I almost always enter on pullbacks, not on these kind of moves. So from this point of view, I would not take it, but of course, it's a very nice bullish symbol. There's no question about it. But I think a pullback will come. They're coming maybe every month. Wait for that and then enter into a long direction. WFRD. Okay. Weatherford International PLC, oil and gas. Yeah. Yeah. Also coming up towards resistance here. I would wait for an entry here. And then we have Bank of America from Dominic. BAC. Financials have recovered nicely. Aubrey, are you still in your JP Morgan trade? This reminds me, yeah, coming off this level here, we came a low below this level a bit, now recovering. Now in the middle also here. But I think, yeah, financials are probably going to recover as the market is recovering. So yeah, maybe wait for a bit of a pullback here and then enter into long position of Bank of America. Let me just quickly check into JP Morgan just for the fun of it. It came down to a key level and recovered beautifully. Look at this one here. That's the kind of trades which I wish I had seen this long-term uptrend down almost to the T to this broken resistance level, this green line here, and what a bounce we saw afterwards. Yeah. Anyways, JP Morgan was a great candidate a couple of weeks ago. Okay. BAPA, CVR Energy Inc. Okay. Let's have a look. Yeah. Okay, so bullish uptrend. Bigger pullback here now up again. Bit of a pullback, yeah, but this one is kind of a no man's land in between support and resistance. Not my I like to trade off levels. Right now we're nowhere near levels, so I would probably stay away. Tesla. Okay, Tesla. I think Tesla came down quite a bit to 23% down for the year. Yeah, we lost support here. So let's have a quick look. What is going on with Tesla? That's like a steady grind downwards. Yeah, these are my least favorite stocks to get along with. The grind downwards is so steady. It's kind of, just the downwards momentum is so even. And we lost this resistance level. So yeah, I don't see any. What's this line here? Oh, this was a VWAP. I'm just take this off 1 second. Uh, I don't see any technical level nearby. So maybe you're gonna come down to this level here, 288. Then prices may come down, or maybe even down here. I'll be careful of Tesla right now. I think eventually it's gonna go up again, but where the bottom will be, I think there's more downside action to come potentially. Shopify. Okay. Shopify from Chris. All right. Yeah. Okay. Long-term uptrend now hitting support down here and especially this level here. I think Shopify might come all the way down to this level here. This is a fairly new level established by this swing low. This one down here is more established. It's long term, but we know this level since Feb 2024. So a long-term level. I'll be careful right here. Maybe prices are going to come down to 90, and then this could be an interesting long opportunity for Shopify. That's my take at least. All right, Netflix by Frank. All right. Okay, yeah, nice bounce towards the upside. We're bearish Netflix, but we kind of stopped going downwards here at this support level. We came briefly below. And yeah, looks like it's recovering a bit again. Netflix, I mean, from a swing trading point of view, I would not trade it right now. Trend has come bearish here with an up gap which might get filled over time. So, but yeah, if you believe in Netflix from a buy and hold perspective, yeah, these kind of bigger corrections are when you want to pull your trigger to get in cheaper. All right, RRC Resources, Range Resources Corporation. Short bounce, hitting support. Yeah, interesting. Let me just see where did we get bullish. That's very zigzaggy here, the stock here. Kind of zone break retrace here, which didn't work out. We kind of went below this level. I think this might be the bottom line here at 14. And yeah, interesting. Actually, when it came down here, yeah, potentially here for a long trade. I kind of like it, Barbara. CVLT, and Aubrey says he's still in JP Morgan. Did you add to your position when it dropped down? Okay. Commvault system. Oh, software. Yeah. Honestly, I mean, software as a whole is just such a bearish momentum right now. I don't know anything about this company. I would stay away. I think when it comes to software, I would perhaps focus on some of these, like the Microsoft or some of these really broad companies who have not just software as one of the applications, but are more diversified or too big to fail in some sense. These ones I would be more comfortable with, but this one probably not. Commvault, bearish with bearish momentum. Okay, SOC. SOC. Let's see here. Is it this one here? Subsea Energy. Ooh, yeah. If that's the symbol that you meant, Baba, yeah, very extended. Be careful. So I'll wait for a pullback of some sort. What by Andrew? All right. Energis Corporation Technology. Yeah, we got bullish here now, right at resistance. You see. No, not my cup of tea. Um, Maybe you're looking at this one here as a potential candidate from a speculative point of view. Maybe it can reach all time or its old highs again. Maybe, but that would be pure speculation. But from a swing trading point of view, I don't see any reason to jump in right now, especially also since we're right at this resistance level. BETR by Kevin. BETR. We don't have it. Let me just quickly check here. BETR. Better Home and Finance Holdings. All right. Okay. At the zone of control of our volume profile indicator. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. But I don't see any clear pattern here, Kevin. Not sure what my take here would be. I think right at the zone of control, I think prices may hang out here for a little bit. We got bearish momentum. Maybe going to see another move down towards this support level 26. Maybe then I'll think of a long position for prices maybe to bounce up again, but not my cup of tea personally. NBIS. All right, from Barry. Nebius Group Communication Services up 66%. Oh, yeah. Once again, these kind of things, I will be careful right here, right at resistance or extended. There might be a pullback coming. I would wait for a pullback like these ones here and then jump in right here. I think a bit too risky for my cup of tea. I'm just reading what Aubrey says here about JP Morgan. You sold the trade. Let me just quickly see. One quick, I'm always like what Aubrey has to say about JP Morgan of a common interest in this stock. Oh, this gap up. Okay, you sold this. Got it. Interesting. Aubrey, did you use our gap IQ indicator to see what the chance of a gap fill are? Actually, Nicholas, let me just quickly, just for the fun of it, it's good to sometimes just change it up a little bit. Let me just go to our gap IQ indicator here in TradingView. And let's see what it has to say about JP Morgan. All right, about gap fills. Okay, so on the daily, indicator's not there. 1 second. Invite only. So Aubrey is talking about this up gap that we see here in JP Morgan. And so Aubrey said he sold his swing trade. I guess you have a long-term position regardless, but from a swing trading point of view, you sold this up gap. And I was wondering, what are the chances of this gap being closed? Okay, so this was an up gap. For this gap to be filled, price would need to come down all the way to 297. That's where this gap started. So this is the nearest up gap. And if it's filled 25% so far, so 75% are still to be filled. And if we look, I'm going to just make this font a little bit bigger. And Nicholas, I think we need to make this font here by default a bit bigger for gap IQ. Maybe something we can note down as a future improvement. Thanks. Just change the default to, because it's a bit hard to see. Is it this one here? Nearest. Where is this font? Normal. I guess it's this one. Huh? Is it? 1 second, guys. Where do we
I
see
don't
this,
think it's
Nicola?
a functional setting, Daniel.
Oh no, that worked. Okay. Anyways, okay. So we're here. So this was an up gap, and over time here for JP Morgan on the daily time frame, we can see that we had since 2039 up gaps of this kind of nature, and 82% of were filled over time. So that's pretty big, especially for a bullish stock like JP Morgan. And this is probably why Aubrey has decided to sell his position here, because there's a chance that we're going to come down to this level to fill this gap. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Okay, so going back to where were we? Two more requests here by Derek. CEE, the Central Eastern Europe Fund. All right. Short setup. Yeah, we're hitting support resistance here with a liquidity capture at this level. Yeah, Derek, will also wait, see what happens. See, there's also a bit of a gap here. I would not jump in right now. I think there might be a bit of a bounce happening from this level. And then we have Dell. I wonder what Dell is doing. Also short bounce, also at resistance. Yeah, similar here. Let's quickly see where are we coming from. Yeah, bullish trend since July 2025 and now hitting resistance. Coming down a little bit. I think it might come down towards this level here at 160 and then maybe look for longs in Dell. What does our gap indicator say about the SPY? Let's check it out. All right. Oh, I mean this gap here. Okay, let's check it out. So this is the gap here, 28.7% filled. In the SPY since 2000, we had a total of 30 up gaps, 22 of them were filled. So 8 of them remain unfilled. So 73%. Perfect. All right, guys. I think this sums up all our symbol requests, unless I'm mistaken. Nicholas, do you see anything coming in? Is there anything else?
I think we're all good.
Perfect.
Yep,
All
we're all good.
right. Okay, well, Aubrey is saying he has to head to the airport. Great. Are you going back to going to Greece? I once took a flight from Athens to Cyprus. It was very beautiful. See all the islands with Cyprus Airways. Nice little flight, maybe 1.5 hours. All right, guys. Anyways, I digress. All right. So, with this, a quick reminder that we do offer a full week of a free trial for our Liquidity View dashboard available at tradingindicators.com/view. If you're interested, check it out. You will not be charged. You have to put your payment information, but you will not be charged in that week, and you can cancel at any time. There's a link that will be sent to you to manage your subscription, so it's very easy. Also, if there were any questions unanswered, you can always reach out to us via our homepage, tradingindicators.com. Click on support, then contact, put your question there, and these questions will go straight to my inbox, and we will answer every question personally. Sometimes it will just take a little bit longer, depending on how much volume we are getting. All right. With this, guys, have a great weekend. Get some, relaxation going in, and let's be all prepared for the market open on Monday. It's nice to see you guys. Bye bye. Have a nice weekend. Thanks, Nicholas.